You are born in the lowlands of Babylon, where the land is flat, wet, and endlessly worked. It is the reign of King Ammisaduqa, grandson of the great Hammurabi. His famous laws were carved long ago, but people still believe they matter. Your family lives near the Interungo Canal, just south of the city walls. You are not farmers with land of your own. That privilege disappeared generations ago. Instead, you are seasonal professionals, irrigators, canal repairers, reed cutters, transport laborers. Your father works when the water rises, you work when it falls. You are poor, but you are useful. And in this world, usefulness is survival. From childhood, you are trained to read water, not words. You know when a canal bank will collapse weeks before it does. You know how to cut reeds without weakening the river edge. You know how to clear silt so the grain barges don't run aground. The temples need you. The merchants rely on you. The state counts on you. Your payment comes in barley rations, sometimes silver dust, measured by weight, sometimes oil or wool when supplies are thin. You never starve. You never save. This world, Babylon, is not chaos. Everything has its place. Temples store grain, merchants lend silver, scribes record obligations, the king guarantees order. Debt is not hidden here. It is written into clay, witnessed publicly, sealed by law. You are raised knowing one truth. Debt is dangerous, but it is not permanent. That belief shapes everything. Then comes the year the flood arrives too early. Your work vanishes. The canals overflow before they need repair. The reed harvest rots in the water. Transport slows to a crawl. During this same season, your mother falls ill. You borrow grain from the temple storehouse not as charity, but as credit. You borrow silver from a merchant to replace the tools you lost in the flood. A scribe, with practiced hands, presses your name into a tablet of wet clay. You do not argue. Everyone signs tablets. Interest does not announce itself with a shout. It accumulates silently, like silt at the bottom of a canal. One year, your repayment costs more grain than you expected. Another year, you repay with your labor instead of silver. Then, your eldest son is sent to work for 3 months for your creditor. This is still legal. It is still normal. But you notice something changing. There are more tablets. The terms are longer. There is less room to breathe. You see it happening to others, too. A neighbor loses his right to work his ancestral field. A cousin's daughter is pledged into domestic service. They say it's only temporary. Old men you once knew disappear into temple workshops, and you know they will never return to a free life. This is not yet a collapse, but it is drift. And drift, when it is left unchecked, always becomes ruin. People begin to whisper a word rarely spoken aloud: me, Aram, justice, restoration. Babylonian kings have done this before. When disorder grows too great, when debt chains too many hands, when fields go untilled and soldiers desert their posts, a king may stand and declare, the land is restored. The people are free. You do not demand it, you depend on it. You understand something that outsiders never will. If debt is allowed to harden forever, the kingdom dies. Peasants flee to the hills. Fields empty and turn to dust. Canals collapse from neglect. Tax revenue vanishes. The armies shrink. A king without people is not a king. This act of amnesty is not generosity, it is state survival. The announcement comes in the second year after a failed harvest. Messengers arrive from Babylon proper. Drums echo across the canals, their rhythm carrying a message of change. The decree is read publicly in every settlement. All personal debts are cancelled. Land is returned to its ancestral claimants. Bonded laborers are released. Temple obligations are reset to zero. This applies to everyone. There are no exceptions. Scribes bring out baskets heavy with clay tablets. Your names, your numbers, your lives, recorded in rows of tiny wedges. Then, they begin smashing them, not in a grand ceremony, but with brutal efficiency. Debt is being erased by destruction. You watch as the scribe finds the tablet with your name. He lifts it and brings it down against a stone. The sound is soft, a quiet crack, but its effect is absolute. You are free. You do not celebrate wildly. There is no feast. You have gained no new wealth. You simply return to work the next morning, but this time, you work for yourself. That is the entire point. The system is not designed to elevate you. It is designed to release pressure. Your son comes home, your creditor does not protest. He knew this day was always a possibility. The merchants grumble for a week, but then they continue lending, because they know that lending only works if people survive long enough to repay. This is the balance. This system of debt amnesty did 3 critical things. It prevented the formation of a permanent underclass. It kept the labor force productive, and it preserved social stability. It acknowledged a simple, powerful truth. Human systems must have a way to reset, or they will break. Generations later, this logic will fade. Land will become absolute private property. Contracts will become eternal. Debt will become a moral failing, not a structural problem. The tablets will stop breaking. And when they do, people will break instead. You never thought of yourself as protected, only accounted for. The system never promised you comfort. It promised continuity. And in a world balanced on the knife edge of floods, famine, and fragile order, that promise was everything. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past interesting, consider subscribing for more stories about how our world came to be.